Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am very excited for today's video because my Pat McGrath Celestial Nirvana Mega Mothership finally came. Well, it came a couple days ago, but I didn't have time to film. It's really beautiful. I'm really excited to finally have this. I feel like I'm the last person to post a video for this or film anything with it, but I did order on launch day and it got lost in the mail, and things already take forever to get to Seattle from them. And then it got lost, I emailed, all of that, and then it took another like 10 days to get another one. But it's here. The Pat McGrath customer service team were great. They were really fast to respond to my emails and really apologetic. So that was all great. It was just the actual shipping time across the country that took forever. I have played with a couple shades already just to see what they were like, but I'm gonna do some swatches because I wanna see what they look like on my skin tone, especially if you are also medium olive like me or anywhere near me. And then I'm gonna do multiple looks, probably at least 4. So I am excited to finally try this out. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Colin. I am a non-binary Latinx scientist and lover of makeup with a soft spot for indie makeup and colorful makeup. And I have new content every week, so I'd love to have you subscribe. So this is the big palette. It looks really pretty. I do like the design of the new holiday palettes, this and the last one. I like that it has all the shades on the back. Looks really nice. I like that she kept the theme of last year with like hearts and cherubs and stuff. It's just different ones. I did already get my two little 5-pan palettes, and I do already have a video trying both of these out. I also just recently got another thing from Pat McGrath. This was on sale. This is something I've wanted since 2020 when it came out, and I had an extra, it was on sale 30% off, and I had an extra 20% off code through Instagram. So I bought one of her quads. It's the first time I've bought one of her quads. This is the Interstellar Icon quad, and I've already used it. It's beautiful. I've been lusting after this for a while, and I'm so happy I finally have it. So a lot of Pat McGrath coming at me at once right now, but I don't mind that. I've been very into her formulas lately. So like I said, I'm gonna do a little bit of basic info just in case you need it now, some comparisons to her last 2 Mega Motherships, some swatches because I wanna see what these look like on my skin tone, and then I'm gonna do some looks. So this is the palette. The box that it came in looked exactly like this, but I don't keep the boxes for things. It was a little different than last year. Last year it had like an envelope kind of feel where you pulled out here. This was more a traditional box. It is not exactly the same size as last year's, which the OCD part of me doesn't enjoy, but that's fine. So here's last year's Celestial Odyssey, which I adore, and you can see they're very similar. This is just a little bit bigger, that a little bit longer and a little bit more narrow, but they are the same number of shades. It's just the layout has changed a little bit. So last year's palette had this little emblem in the middle of the black lacquer, and that changed the shape a little bit, and removing that I think is why this is a little differently shaped. This is a little bit more expensive than last year's. Last year's was like 70 something and this was 82. I did get it with a discount, so it was a little bit less, but 82 is a lot of money. It is a good price for Pat McGrath quality, especially this mini shades, as long as this is her normal quality. I'm excited for this because I love colorful eyeshadow, and I'm really excited to have some colorful mattes from Pat McGrath, especially like this dark blue and this green and that brick shade up there. I'm very excited for them. I also really love the first palette. I got this recently, Celestial Divinity. I got this at the beginning of the year, end of the year when it restocked. A friend of mine got this for me as a gift, and I love the shades in this. Not the mattes. The mattes are okay. I just don't wear pink tones like this very often. But the shimmers in this are beautiful, but the packaging was definitely like a little cheap feeling, like it's a big sticker right here. So people complained about that a lot. So for last year's, this was a lot nicer quality-wise for the packaging. It just feels sturdier. It has the black lacquered back that is reminiscent to her quads and her big Mothership palettes. I do want to point out that in the new palette, at first glance, it looks like it's still the black lacquered of last year, but this is not. This is cardboard, and this is just printed on it. So I don't love that it increased in price like everything is right now because of inflation. Like even her Motherships are like 120 instead of 125. But there was also that like little bit of a cost-cutting measure of this being just black cardboard instead of the black lacquer. But it still looks really nice. And it's not like a make or break thing for me. I did want to point that out though, because especially if you haven't bought this yet, like you were waiting for the Sephora sale or Black Friday or something, it's not plastic, it is cardboard. So for the design of the palette, I think this was a really clever way of Pat doing colorful shades. You basically have 3 6-pan palettes, kind of like the first one that was like 2 Star Wars palettes and 6 new shades in the middle. You've got the neutrals, you've got the cool side, and then you've got the warm tone side. So I think I will do like a look per 6-pan and then some stuff kind of mixing around. We'll see. I do want to do swatches. I just took my watch off. I'm not going to put any primer down. This is just on my bare skin. I just want to see what the shadows look like because that'll help me kind of formulate how I want to do the looks. So I'm just going to do them in their order here. So the first few shades are Nightfall, Cosmic Champagne. Oh, Nightfall feels really nice. That's just a nice kind of dark, warmer brown, but not like super warm. Cosmic Champagne, it feels nice and creamy. Just a champagne shade. She does love those. Bronze Infatuation. This feels a little different. Oh, that's beautiful. That feels a little bit more like some of the shades in the new little 5-pans. And then what is this shade? This is Desert Divinity, which is a great shade name for this kind of color. So these are the true neutrals of the palette. So we've got, oh, that is very creamy. Okay, that's really pretty. I would say in person, there's a bit of a peach undertone to it against my skin. I don't know if that's gonna show up on camera. That's really beautiful. That's nice. Okay, so this, if you are a neutral lover, I don't think that you would really want this palette. I don't think $80 for, even though it has some neutrals in it, I just don't see a neutral person using this. But if you're someone who really loves color and you've been wanting to try Pat McGrath and they were a little too neutral to you, this might be a good option to try. But so far the quality in the swatches is really nice. But this is you could easily just do a look with this. Transition, outer corner, lid, inner corner, and inner lid. Won't do that. I probably won't do that look today just because that's really easy and I don't think you need a tutorial for that. The next shade is the green, which I'm very excited for. That is really beautiful. I was worried about this when I saw it. So it does pull kind of teal blue on me. I would say it's, especially on camera, in person it's a little more green, but it's like an emerald green, and because I'm an olive, emeralds tend to look a little more blue than green. So that is something I was prepared for mentally. And then this is the shade Guilty Opulence, which is a nice kind of olivey gold. Very excited for that. That's beautiful. Yeah, that's like an antique gold, a little bit of green. Okay, so for the cool tones, we've got Nocturnal Navy, Lunar Lavender, and Eternal Amour are the first 3. So this navy does feel a little drier, but I feel like dark blues always kind of feel drier. The lavender shade feels very creamy. That's beautiful. And then Eternal Amour, that's just a nice rose gold. That is very pigmented. That's really pretty. More of a soft shimmer not overly metallic. And that's very metallic. See, this is a little more satin compared to that. And then the last three in this section are Fabulosity, Violet Vixen, and Aquarian Dream. Fabulosity is the slightly warmer purple. It's really pretty. This is Violet Vixen, beautiful, kind of grapey. And then Aquarian Dream feels like a little thicker, creamy, kind of metallic, but not overly sparkly. Really beautiful. These are swatching beautifully, and swatches don't really tell you anything about performance, but not disappointed in the swatches. Some of my favorite shadows swatch horribly and perform beautifully on the eyes, so that doesn't really tell me anything, but I appreciate a good swatch. And then we've got Auburn Allure, Golden Angelica, and Heavenly Bronze. Auburn Allure is one that I've been looking forward to. I love a brick red. It's my favorite kind of, like a darker brick red is my favorite kind of red. This just feels like a nice smooth yellow gold, like light pale gold metallic. And then this bronze shade feels very textured. This feels kind of like the bronze shade last year. Oh, that's very beautiful. That's more golden bronze, but it feels similar in texture to Bronze Nova from the palette last year. Love that, definitely using that today. Love that. That's beautiful. Okay, we've got three more. So Flame Fatale, Venusian Peony, and Starlit Copper. So this is like a nice coral red. I do like a coral. And we've got a pink. I do not use bubblegum pinks very often, so I might use that today, but I probably won't really use that going forward. And then the copper shade. That's really pretty. It kind of looks like a smoother version of the copper from Midnight Sun, which is my favorite Mothership. These are all very pigmented and very creamy. So this is the palette swatched out on my medium olive skin tone, in case that is helpful for you. It also helps me kind of plan some ideas. So I'm gonna wash this off and get started on some eye looks. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna do at least 4 looks, maybe more, just because I feel like it's taken so long to get this. I wanna put a decent amount of effort in it and show you what this palette, what it can do, and really formulate my opinion. I do want to say before I start that I have already tried a few of the shades. I'm gonna hold it this way because the mirror is kind of a pain. So the other day I did the mid-tone brown as a transition. I blended the green into it, and that blended in really nicely. I did see some people say that the screen didn't blend, but it blended fine for me. I think they might just have been using the wrong size or shaped brush, because I had zero issue. And then I tried out the dark blue, and I just put that on my outer corner and blended it out. And in typical Pat McGrath fashion, I had really dark blue here, a lighter blue up here, and I didn't really need a transition shade, but I do like that there is a mid-tone brown, neutral brown, that you can use as a transition for pretty much anyone. So I'm gonna do the neutral side, the cool side, the warm side, and then figure it out from there. Also, I'm gonna use my little quad as my mirror, just because it's kind of a pain to pick that big palette up over and over again. So I'm just gonna leave it on my table. I also want to try to make some of these looks more approachable. Like, you could easily do the really bright purple, the blue, and then like the blue shimmer or something, and do just a really dramatic, colorful look. But I know a lot of people don't always go for that. Even if you like color, you might not want that. So I do want to make some of these a more approachable way of using these, especially if you bought this out of collector's habit and you are intimidated by it. One of the things I want to do on my channel is make colorful things and sparkly things less intimidating. So I'm gonna put a little bit more lip oil on, And I'm gonna start with the Desert Divinity shade on a fluffy rougher brush. This is a rougher 15, just nice, big and fluffy. And I have it on one side, not directly in the middle, so that way I can put it right here, and then you blend it up without getting it too high. If I put it directly in the middle, it'll end up blending too high up. I primed with my Urban Decay eye primer like always, and I didn't set it, I never set it. And the rest of my makeup will be in the description box. It's my Haus Labs foundation and powder, Kosas concealer, pat, blush, and highlight. It's a really pretty neutral brown. I think you could use it with the cool shades or the warm shades. You could literally put this in your crease for all of your looks with this palette, and I think be okay. I'm gonna pick up just a little bit more. Make sure to tap off. Put that right here. And just keep blending that in. I like that pat shadows are really pigmented, but also blendable, so you can do them lightly or kind of go in with a more dense brush and have them be darker. I think having that blendability and pigmentation is what makes them so inclusive for all skin tones, because a pale person can go in with a light dusting and a deeper complexion can like pack it on and blend it out a little bit, and it'll work for everybody. Versus a really pale shade that you have to build up in 7 layers and it barely shows up. So I really like this color and this shape. I try not to bring it too far in because I don't want to close off my eye. So I really like that shape. And then I'm gonna grab, this is a Refer 26, one of my go-to brushes. It's just a big pencil brush. I'm gonna pick up that green shade. I'm picking it up on one side. I just went tap, tap, tap off the excess. And then I'm gonna use this and make kind of a wing with the green. I could easily blend it into my crease, but I wanna make a wing because I think it's easier to wear color in like a wing liner or something kind of fashion versus blended everywhere, or a little less intimidating. So I'm just going to stamp it where I want it and kind of drag across my lash line. It's a really pigmented green. Now I can just use the tip right here to blend that into my lash line. And pick up one more. And just kind of draw the shape I want. I will clean up the edge with concealer later. Pencil brush, or then I'm gonna pick up this little brush and I'm gonna blend that into the outer part of my crease. I'm not gonna go all the way in like I might for some looks. I'm gonna keep it out here. And you could easily just do a liner with this. With the smaller brush especially, you could do an easy little liner. I want it to blend into the crease a little bit, but I want it to basically just create that wing shape with the green. And you can see it's blended into the brown really nicely. There's especially in person, I can see a really nice transition into the brown. And then I'll pick up a little bit more of the brown and then just go over it again just to make sure everything's cohesive. I do want to try out the darker brown, so I'm going to put that underneath right here. You can also do just the green underneath your eye if you're intimidated still. Neutral on the top, green lower lash. That's always a cute look. A little bit of green. But I think this looks really great, especially in person. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a shimmer. I'm gonna try a brush first, and I'm gonna pick up that more greeny golden shade from that first row, and I'm gonna put that all over. Now I always suggest the first pat to kind of press in, kind of like if you were using your finger. Use the warmth of your skin to melt the shadow. Okay, that's pretty. I think over a glitter glue or a tacky base, it would really pop. It's a little more on the quote-unquote wearable side, as is with a brush, which I don't mind. But I know some people want high impact all the time. So I'm gonna use my finger to pick up a little bit more and rub that on. Yeah, definitely get more of a metallic finish this way. And then I'm just gonna pick up the champagne and put that on my inner corner and underneath my eye a little bit. You can see, hopefully you can see on my skin tone, it is a little peachy. Okay, I really like this. This is the kind of look I would wear to work every day. So I love this. And I do know some people have trouble mixing and matching shades. That's why I wanted to do some looks where I'm staying in the little like 6-pan palettes. Okay, so that was the first 6 shades. I didn't use the bronze. I could put that on my lower lash line actually. Let me grab another pencil brush. Pick up a little bit of that and run that right here. It's a really pretty bronze. If you were intimidated by how green this gold looks, you could always put the bronze on your lid and put a little bit of this under here as like a pop. So I'm gonna now do a look with the cool tones, which if you know me, you know I can't wait to use the blues. So I'm going to do what I did the other day, and I'm gonna grab the blue on this small brush. This is a Rephr 13. You can see it's kind of fluffy, but a little dense. It's not overly long. I do have, this is the Rephr 14, and you can see kind of the difference. See how this one's a little bit fluffier and longer? I'm going for this one. And I'm gonna pick up the dark blue, tap off the excess, and I'm just gonna tap that onto my outer V. Pick up a little bit more. And tap. And if I get a little bit down here, it's fine. I'm gonna use concealer. I'm also gonna wash these off and do more looks. But if you're worried about fallout, always do your eyes first, especially with a dark shade like this. And then I'm just gonna use what's left on that brush and blend into my crease a little bit. And you can see there's not that much left. And I could easily have started with the transition shade and blended this into it, kind of like I did over here. But I did want to show and see how blendable this is. So I'm just blending that kind of halfway into my crease. I don't want to go too far and close off my eye. And then I'm just working to build up, to blend out the dark spot that I created by packing there. And then just using that to blend outward. And you can see that's blending out really nicely. I do think I need to tap a little bit more right there just to make that even. But I would say the edge looks pretty blended already. It's never gonna be perfectly blended because you don't have blue in your skin. So it's never gonna blend in as perfectly as a brown will. Or if you're really pale and you use like a light pink or a peach, it's never gonna blend in quite as well as those, but it does look very diffused. So I'm just picking up a little bit more and going right here where I needed a little bit more depth. And so what I do when I'm using a shade like this that I want to see, not just in the outer corner, is I look straight ahead and I can see it's over, and it's over my real crease so that you can see even when my eyes are relaxed, but it's not going too far in, so it's not closing off my eye. And then just to see if I can get the blend a little bit better and perfected, I'm gonna grab that slightly fluffier brush with a little bit of the brown, and I'm just going to dust that over the edges. And if that shade is too dark for you to really do that with, like if you're too much lighter than me, you can always use your setting powder to blend the edges. Be it loose or a pressed form, you could use your setting powder. And then I'm using that same right here. And I'll clean up the edge with concealer when I'm done. Okay, I really like that. I do want to try one of the purple shades. I'm gonna put that on my lower lash line. You could easily blend it out with the purple as well, but I'm gonna take, I think, the more grapey purple, and I'm gonna put that right here. This is just a little smudge brush. It's really pretty. I'm gonna get that to the edge, and then I'm gonna take a little bit of it and a little bit of the blue, and connect. And then I could do a monochromatic look and just put the light blue all over, but I don't feel like doing monochromatic. So I'm gonna take the more pink shade. I think this, holding it upside down because it's just easier, I think this would be a beautiful monochromatic look, doing the blue and then putting this on the lid and this on the inner corner, but I'm gonna try out the pink shade for a little pop, and then I think I still might use that on the inner corner. So I picked up the rose gold shade, looks really nice. And I'm just gonna place that all over my lid. I really like that. And then using a clean Refer 21, I'm just going to do the inner part and kind of perfect it. This is the best brush I've used for shimmers ever, so. I know they are launching some new brushes soon. I'm hoping they do a good sale for Black Friday again this year because I need some more duplicates. And if I don't have to pay full price, I don't wanna. I really like that. If you are worried about the blue not blending in quite well enough, you can always take a little bit more and tap it over the edge of the shimmer, and that'll kind of create a better gradient out here. And I'm just wiping off on a microfiber cloth down here between things. And then I'm gonna pick up that lavender, lunar lavender shade. I'm gonna put that, I think I'm gonna put that on my lower lash line, and then I'm gonna put the champagne on my inner corner, but we'll see. So I just pick that up on a pencil brush. This one's from Sigma. That blends beautifully into this purple. That could be a really nice look. Like this shade all over the lid, like as a wash, and then the grapier purple as a shadow liner would be really cool. I'm gonna blend that up here and then pick a little bit of the champagne to mix it together. Okay, I really like that. I'm gonna go clean up the edges a little bit and I will be right back. Okay, so I'm back and these are the finished looks. I took inspiration from Alicia Archer, Kinky Sweat. When she does a lot of these multi-look videos, I think she doesn't wear mascara, she just puts false lashes on. I'm terrible at false lashes, but part of the reason I don't do these very often is because wiping off the eyeshadow, I get the mascara and then I have to rub a lot and it just makes my eyes really irritated. So I was like, let's give this a try. These are the Sad Girl lashes from Trixie Cosmetics. They're really nice. I've worn them a few times. My right eye is always fine. I just get it on quickly. My left is the one that I fight with. But I really like these looks. I like the pinky, purpley blue over here. This is my favorite, the neutral side, but I've been really into these kind of tones. One, because it's fall. Two, these are like my neutrals, like greens and olivey tones. But blue is my favorite color, and I really like these. I think it looks really nice, especially in person. I just don't think the camera can pick it up as well as I would like it to. But really like both of these looks. So far, every shadow's worked really well. I've used all but one of the first two column shades, or first two sixth hands. I didn't use the warmer purple, but I did use that the other day and it worked amazingly, so not worried about that. So I'm gonna go take this off and be right back to film 2 more looks. But I think that might be all I can do, at least today, just because the air quality in Seattle is really bad from the fires. Like normally I can see downtown Seattle from our windows. I can't, it's just gray, but not fog. It's gray from smoke. And because I film in front of our windows for natural light, my throat is starting to hurt because the smoke is seeping through little by little. So I will be back in just a moment to do 2 more looks. Okay, so I'm back, cleaned off my eyes. They are definitely still a little irritated. I normally, when I remove my makeup at the end of the day, I use like a balm cleanser. But for this I used micellar water because I just need this area, and I don't think my skin likes micellar water. So there's a little bit of a tingle that I don't like, but gonna carry on. So now I wanna use this side a bit and then do something combining some shades. So I want to use these shades here. I definitely wanna put the bronze on my lid because it's the brightest over here. It looks really beautiful. But I think I'm gonna start with these 2 shades, see how they look, and then maybe put that on top. So I'm actually gonna start with the metallics for this look. When I decide if I wanna start with the metallic or start with the matte, tends to be about the formula of the metallic. So like these are her more creamy metallics that you can kind of blend the edges of without getting sparkle too far. This you can see is much more textured. So blending the edges is just gonna get it everywhere. So I'd rather start with the matte and then put that down. So I'm going to use a brush to start. So I'm gonna pick up the more pale gold. What is that? That is Golden Angelica. And I'm gonna put that on the inner half of my lid. That's really pretty. It's probably a better inner corner shade for me because it's a little more golden than the other one, which is peachy. So it's gonna be a more natural shade, which also means it's not gonna show up as intensely on camera. I use my finger, you can see it a little bit more. And then using my finger, I'm gonna use the copper shade and place that over the other half of my lid. And then I'm just gonna blend the 2 together. That rougher brush, I'm gonna blend, make sure I have this all over my lid. And I can kind of, even though this is really flat, I can kind of blend with it. I'm just kind of tapping. I'm not like directly tap, it's like a tap swipe. Pick a little bit more of the pale golden shade. Tap that around. That's really pretty. Then I'm gonna take a rougher one. Yeah, this is flat, but also fluffy. I'm gonna take the brick shade and I'm gonna put that right here in the outer V. I like that this is my go-to for like a one and done look. Especially if I'm doing like bronzer, I'll put this in the crease and just blend it. But I can do this with a metallic as well. I'm just gonna tap a little bit here. I'm gonna lift my brow to make sure I don't miss this spot because right here in the crease can be missed. And then I'm just gonna use the fluffiness of the brush to blend that copper metallic into my crease and then into that pale gold. This is a kind of daily look that I would do with this. If you wanted it to be more toned down, avoid the copper and just use the pale gold. Pale gold with the browns would look really nice. But you can see, because these are a smoother formula, I don't have a bunch of like sparkle particles in my crease, which I don't mind, but I know a lot of people hate that. So I would say the champagne shade, the pale gold shade, the pale blue shade, the greeny gold and the copper are that like smooth formula, and then like the two bronze shades, the pink, those are a little more textured, and I wouldn't necessarily do this with. And then to see if we can build up a little bit more depth out here, I'm taking the dark brown from the first 6 side, the neutral side, and I'm gonna place that right here with a pencil brush. If I started with the brick shade, I might have been able to build it up darker. I probably could have, but I wanted to try a few different methods with these. Okay, I really like that. And if you don't think that the brick red shade is blended into your skin enough, I would just grab a little bit of that transition brown, the Desert Divinity, and just kind of do that. Just picking up a little bit more of the brick. I want to make sure this doesn't look overly brown. I want the brick to show up. Okay, I really like that. And then I'm going to take the other bronze shade and I'm going to pick it up on a pencil brush and I'm going to run that underneath. And then picking up another pencil brush, or the same one but wiped off, I'm going to take more of the pale gold and really highlight that inner corner. Actually, I wonder if that pale gold would work as a highlighter. I'm gonna pick up my highlighter brush, tap it in a little bit, and then, yeah, I think that would work as a highlight. It's really pretty. Yeah, that's definitely showing up in person a little more gold than the highlighter I had on already. And then I'm just gonna put the more peachy shade from the first 6 side, the neutral side, on the same brush, and I'm gonna put a little bit here. That's very icy. See what I mean about what's more peachy and icy? I will blend that in with my blush brush in a few minutes. If your highlight's ever a little too much, just grab your blush brush that you used and go back over with your blush. I really like this look. I think this looks really pretty. I'm just gonna pick up a little bit more of the dark brown and kind of go right here, just to make sure everything's connected. So I didn't use the pink and I didn't use the more coral shade, but I'm really happy with this. So I'm gonna now do this side. Okay, so for this side, I haven't used this shade yet, so I really wanna use that. And it is so pretty. I think I'm gonna use these two together just to see how that works. So I'm gonna pick up Fabulosity on another Rephr 1 brush, kind of do what I did here with the brick shade, and I'll clean up the edge later. Kind of do what I did with the brick shade, but not over the shimmer. I'm just gonna put it down. So I'm just gonna tap right here, and then blend into my crease. Much more pink purple, and I think I'll use the light pink shade on my inner part of the lid, just so I can mix everything together. And now there is a fire truck going by, so I'm gonna blend while that goes by. Okay, so really like that color. It is more of a pinky purple, so I'm picking up a little bit of that really bright pink, like Barbie pink, and I'm gonna put that on the inner part of my crease. And I'm not going up as high, so I don't want to close off my lid and have it like go under the bridge of my nose or anything. So I'm using the same brush and I'm just putting it right here, kind of like I was doing a halo eye, and then blending upward. It is a really pretty pink. I just don't gravitate towards that kind of pink, especially as an eyeshadow. As a t-shirt, yeah. This is my favorite shape for blending brushes because it has a good flat side, but it's also really fluffy. And it's not, this is the Refer 15, so it's like round and fluffy. This is good for like a wash, but this is better for placing color and blending it out. I have a few of these, but I definitely need to buy more because I go through them a lot, and I don't want to wash my brushes, especially natural hair. You don't want to wash them too much. So I just swap through the ones I have and clean off with the microfiber. Okay, I really like that purple. It's really nice. I do want a little bit more depth out there. I do want a little bit more depth out here, so I'm going to take a little bit of the other purple, and I'm just going to put that right here. And those blend together really nicely. Okay, really liking this. So far, all of these have been performing beautifully. And then, as a nice contrast and pop, I'm going to take the blue shade Aquarian Dream, and I'm going to put that all over the lid. This does feel like I probably could have put it on the lid first and blended it out, but it's so pretty. It doesn't have a flip or anything, but there's like, the edges look, as the light hits the edges, they look a little purple versus just straight up blue. Yeah, that's really pretty. It's not as high shine as, I feel like I have an indie shade that's a similar blue, and it's a little more metallic and bright, but I know that could be intimidating for a lot of people, especially in a blue. I think a nice, if you were scared of this blue, because I think a lot of people are more scared of blue eyeshadow than other colors, you could always do a neutral eye and then use it as the inner corner. I think that would be a really nice pop. Just use like the two browns, the bronze, and then, or the champagne on the lid, and then put that right there. Really pretty. Or just mattes. Just use the two brown mattes, this on the inner corner. Really beautiful. Really liking the way this looks though. Especially over the purple, it's giving a little bit, making it look like it has a bit of a shift. I'm just gonna pick up a little bit more on a brush, just so I can make sure the edges are refined. And a sticky primer like a glitter glue would make this really pop. And then I'm gonna pick up a little bit of Lavender Dream, and I'm gonna put that right here. Really like that. And if you want to reinforce the purple on the outer part of the lid, just take a little bit more, tap it into that blue. Okay, I really like this. I do feel like I might have lost a little bit of the Fabulosity shade, so I'm just gonna go back over right here with it. Kind of 80s vibes with this bright blue and purple, but not mad about it. I think this, the pink and the purple would have looked really nice with the rose gold shimmer. If you want to be more monochromatic with the bronze, that would look really nice with this, just to give you some more ideas without actually having to remove stuff. I'm actually going to take a little bit of the first bronze, the one from the neutral side, and I'm going to put that underneath. I was going to leave the lower lash line bare, but this is such a dramatic, colorful look. I think having that little bit of sparkly bronze underneath will be a nice ground. I could have also just taken the same colors and, you know, melded it, but adds a little bit of dark shimmer down here compared to the brightness up here. Okay, so I'm gonna go tidy up the edges and I will be right back. Okay, so I'm back with the last two looks. I really like these. This is very bubblegum, bright colors, very spring. This is very fall, warm tones. Love this. I really like this eye. Really like this blue. Actually, I really like both of these. Not sure which look I like the most. I just went ahead and put those same Sad Girl lashes from Trixie back on. Fought with them a little bit, but it was a little easier this time. They're not perfect, but I don't really care. I'm not wearing them all day, so they don't need to be perfect. I'm only gonna do the 4 looks. This is already a long video. Smoke is starting to get to me, and it's getting late in the day. So I have now used every shade in here, some of them a few times, except for the corally red. I've used the green a few times because I used it the other day. I've used the blue a few times. I've used the browns multiple times. I've used some of the bronze shades a few times now, and they all perform very well. I think this is maybe not exactly the same formula that she's had before, especially for the colorful shades, but I think it is the same quality that we're used to. They're all very pigmented. The mattes are all very pigmented, blend effortlessly. The shimmers are all really pretty. Some of them are a little more soft, some of them are a little brighter, some of them are a little more textured. If you're going into this expecting duochrome, high sparkle blue shifts, this blue is beautiful. It's not as shifty and sparkly as the blue I used from Lethal Cosmetics a couple days ago. That's a similar tone, but that's multi-chrome with multiple colors in it and pink. That would actually pair really well with these mattes. But you're not gonna get that. But I don't go to Pat McGrath for those shades. I know she's not gonna have them. I do know, she sometimes does duochromes and they're really beautiful, but she's not making indie shades. I do think this was a really beautiful palette, and I'm really happy I have this. I think if you were interested in buying this, I think it's worth the money. I don't think you absolutely have to have it, but you don't have to have any palette really. I think if you are a neutral lover who loves Pat McGrath, don't think this is for you. I think spending $80 on this, it's probably not gonna get used very much. If you are someone that likes color a lot, you might already have similar shades in a lot of other palettes, you might not need it. I know I have similar colors, but not in her quality and her formula, and that's what I wanted, and I'm very happy with that. They all performed well. I don't think there are any duds in here. I think it's all really high quality. I've seen a few people say that the quality wasn't good, and what primer we're using, what brushes we're using. I used mostly Rephr brushes, a few Sigma brushes, but I've had 0 issues with anything blending. So, and I cut out some blending here and there when I edit, but it's 30 seconds, I'm trying not to make a video an hour long, so I have to cut 30 seconds where I can. And sometimes I speed it through, and sometimes it's this is a really boring, even sped up, it's, 9 seconds of boring nothingness, so it works better. But I think this is really great. If you would like more looks with this, more inspiration, let me know. I think this would be a fun palette to do a palette bingo with. So that is something that I have on my list to do. So if you are interested in that, I will make sure I prioritize that. I do know last year's went on sale for Black Friday before it was gone. So especially if you can get this, because that's when I bought it for my best friend for Christmas. And I think I got it for half off for her or something like that. So, $40 or $50 for this, even better. I just didn't want to wait. I wanted to review it. So I really love this. I don't think I'll use this as much as last year's, because last year's just has tones I wear on a daily basis. I wear color regularly, but I don't always. This blue shimmer is really beautiful. This green shimmer. The bronzes in here, Bronze Nova, I love. I think these would also pair together nicely. So if you have this, you've got a little bit more neutrality that you can blend in with this. I think this would also really pair well with this, because this has more mattes than Pat normally puts in a palette, and Celestial Divinity only has 3 mattes. It has a pink, a plum, and a mahogany warm brown, and very colorful shimmers. So I think if you have this, and I like to use these kind of shimmers with neutrals. I like a neutral crease with a colorful shimmer, but if you want all color, these would pair beautifully together. So if you have this and you wanted colorful mattes to work together, I think this would be a nice pairing. Okay, so that is my thoughts. Let me know your opinions in the comments. Did you pick this up? Have you played with it? What looks did you like the best? Do you want more looks? Let me know. I am working on a certificate and stuff on the side, but I don't have a full-time job at the moment, so because my PhD is on pause. So I have a little time if there's things that you really would like to see. As always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.